finally going to Paris. I'm so excited.
This is Grace, and this is Grace's parents, and that's a houseboat. They're headed on a 3-week, 21-day trip from the US to Europe, 3,440 miles away. 2 cities and a whole lot of memories. Before we get into this whole movie, I just wanted to tell a little backstory about the trip. When I was around the age of 7, I always wanted to go to Paris because of the American Girl doll named Grace. And that trend of wanting to go to Paris stuck around for a really long time. And growing up, I was a competitive swimmer for most of my life. At the time, they planned to have the 2024 Olympics be held in Paris. So my parents thought it'd be the perfect time to go on a trip. So for 7 years, we've been saving for this 3-week-long trip. And now here we are, and it's been the best trip of my life. So I took my first red-eye flight from Boston to Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. And it was quite a long flight, but we made it and got to our apartment We spent that first day really sleeping because the jet lag really killed us. But since our apartment for the first week was so far out, we decided to just eat at home for a while, and there wasn't as many cafes and restaurants as you would think. So I also made this cream for strawberries that we got at a market, and it was so good. I didn't actually think it was going to turn out okay, but it was really delicious. This apartment was actually really big compared to our 3rd week that we were going to stay in Paris, but it was really hot that first week, and they had absolute no fans because Paris doesn't really do like AC or fans. So we decided to buy these little mini fans to keep us cool, but it was just so hot. It's really weird seeing how people just rent out their houses during the Olympics, but I mean, it works and they made money off of it. Our first day in the city, we went to this monument or photo spot called Colombe de Burin, which was behind the Louvre, and we also just hung out in the garden that was by the castle in front of us. And eventually we got picked up in a vintage car for a tour ride, which was actually a really good way to get to know the city and experience those first few moments before we would actually get to go and visit the most main attractions in Paris. Our tour guide was great, and we got to see so many different places that I wouldn't have known if we hadn't gone in this car ride. And then finally that day, we also went to Galeries Lafayette, and we went to the rooftop. Finally got to see the Eiffel Tower for the first time, and it was just such a crazy moment because I feel like I've been waiting 7 years for it. I also drank so much soda when I was there, but it was just, fun because it's vacation, and I also wrote a lot of letters to my friends that first week so that they would be able to get them in time. The next day, we got up early and went to Sacré-Cœur, which is in this little bustling city area in Paris, and it was really cool. It was a lot of steps to get up to the big church, and it was so fun because there was this guy who was singing American songs, but then he would switch it up so it would sound like French, and that was just such a cool, cultural moment. The rest of the day, we explored the area of Montmartre. We went to this photo booth, and it was on my list for a long time, and the photos came out so cute, and it was cool to be able to be in this photo booth where there's not as many in the world as you would think.
There was also this big art market that's always there, and that was cool to walk through, but I didn't really buy anything. We also saw the Leaning House. And then usually we would go home and just make dinner, and that was perfect because we would eat fresh strawberries like every day and maybe make some pasta and have a fresh baguette. And obviously there were markets nearby, so we were able to get all these foods easily. The next day we went to the Opera House, which was so beautiful and had so many unique architectural design choices. It was like being in a movie set. It was just unreal and so gorgeous. It's crazy to think that these places still exist, and I'm so happy they do, and I was able to see them in person. Back to drinks, we had so many good drinks on this vacation, and I could not tell you about all of them, but they were just so good. Now the most exciting part, which was going to the Olympics, and it was the most unreal thing, opening that door and being able to see the pool. The venue in which they held at was actually a concert venue, and like Taylor Swift had played there, but they turned it into this big pool, and it was just unreal. We got to our seats and we were like, oh my gosh, this can't be our seats. And they were right in front of the podium, so every time they would do a medaled event, the athletes were right in front of us. And I even got to see Katie Ledecky right in front of me, and she waved back at us, and it was just so crazy to be able to experience that. And truly one of the best nights of my life. And the even more fun part was leaving the arena because it was downpouring rain, and just so fun. Being able to go to the Olympics and being in the stands was so much different than TV, and my younger swimmer self was just so excited to be there, and it definitely gave me hope for the future of my swim career. Then the next day we got up super early to go to Mont Saint Michel, which was a 3-hour ride from Paris, but so worth it. It was just so beautiful and so magical. If you don't know what Mont Saint Michel is, it is this little island with a village and a castle. I always wanted to go to take pictures in front of it because the water comes in and there's all these sheep. And it totally felt like you were in a movie, and it actually is what I think the opening of all the Disney movies, and that's the castle. We also went inside the castle, which was really cool, and it also felt like the Harry Potter movie set. Then we went home, and the next day we were super tired, but hopped on the Eurostar to go to Amsterdam for the week.
Close your eyes, get some rest. I'm by your side. Lay your head
Now, we had rented this houseboat on Airbnb and we did not expect it to be this cool and this big. It was definitely a life-changing experience only because we will never not stay in a houseboat, and I desperately want to buy one someday and live in it because it was just such a unique lifestyle that you don't really understand until you can actually live it.
The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay. Calm your soul, hold my hand.
But they had a water trampoline attached to the boat and you were able to jump in the water in the canals, and it was so refreshing every day.
I understand. I know it hurts. It wasn't fair. It's over now, so don't despair.
The temperature was great there and I got to just relax. We also didn't do as much touristy things or go to as many things as we thought we would because it was just relaxing and fun enough to stay on the houseboat instead. But we did go to the iFilm Museum, which was really cool to look behind the scenes of how film is made or the history behind it. And they had this really cool room where they had projectors everywhere and all these different clips, and it almost felt like the movie Inside Out with all of Riley's memories. And it was cool to walk in front of the projectors and be the whole room to yourself. I also got some really fun footage, and it was super interesting to see how all the projectors came together and worked. Someday I really want to create a collection or exhibit kind of like this, and it gave me a lot of inspiration to take back home. Being in the space was definitely game-changing. We also went to the Wonder Museum, which is kind of like the Happy Place, which they had in Boston a while ago, and it was really fun taking pictures with my family there.
It is our last night in the houseboat, and tomorrow we head back to Paris for one more week and then home. This houseboat has been so cool. Probably one of the coolest stays I've ever been in, but also just such a cool experience to live a different lifestyle for a week. And I 100% love houseboats now. They're just so fun.
But after the most amazing week, we had to leave and go back on the Eurostar to go back to Paris. We stayed in a hotel for one night, and then we explored our new apartment, which was even more closer to the Eiffel Tower than we thought we were. And we were able to walk by it almost every day, and I got this lemon tart basically every morning for breakfast, which was so good. One of the things that we did one day was go to Luxembourg Gardens, and I got a new paint set and painted in the grass. Luxembourg Gardens is almost like their beach because there's so many people just tanning in the grass and having a perfect summer day. And then we took a metro to Versailles, and we spent pretty much the whole afternoon and night there, exploring the city, the Hall of Mirrors, and just understanding how many castles there were in France and how they're all still preserved and able to be here today still, and just how beautiful they are. I just don't understand how they are able to still exist and why we don't have more of them in the US. My mom actually booked tickets to go to the Versailles Gardens at night, and they had this whole ceremony with like fountains and fire shooting and drone shows and fireworks. It was really crazy, and that was like one of the days where we were skeptical of going, but worth it. Had the best mango ice cream ever, and the fireworks show, drone show, fountain show, it was so pretty. Versailles was just so beautiful, and I definitely want to spend more time in the gardens because they were seriously endless and there was so many places to explore. One of the museums that I had desperately had on my list was the Galerie Dior, which is the whole history behind Christian Dior. And I loved it so much. They had so many of his designs on display, and just crazy to witness and be in the same room as this amazing creator. And you were even able to like be in his presence, like in his office and his just whole workspace. I always thought that I'd be a Louis Vuitton girl, but I definitely think I'm leaning towards the Dior side. Even before I went to this museum, I just think that their story is so much more down to earth, and I do really love their designs. We also went to the L'Orangerie Museum, which had Monet's water lilies, and they were very vast and took up basically a whole room. And the museum was so small, so we went to the Modern Museum of Art, which is just so interesting to me, and Paris is not like it, so we didn't spend a lot of time there. But we did go to the Orsay Museum, which had Van Gogh's third bedroom painting, which now I can say I've seen all three, and lots of different styles of artwork. One of the funny things about going to museums, every time I would walk in, I would just start yawning uncontrollably every single time. They even had like architecture for the whole city of Paris, and you could walk over it, but definitely very cool. Now, you can't not go to Paris without going to the Louvre, and this was definitely my favorite museum ever. But the just crazy part about it is how huge it is. We did not even make a dent in this museum. I most definitely want to spend a whole nother day at the Louvre to be able to explore all of the amazing artifacts that they have. It's just endless. But obviously we saw the Mona Lisa, and we had the best tour guide ever named David, and he was just so sweet, and I just loved him. We were really able to get a good understanding of the artwork, and I'm very grateful for that. We also saw the ball sphere or whatever from the Olympics, and walked home by the Seine. Our last day in Paris, we actually went to the catacombs, which was very interesting, but also just like kind of crazy how that's able to work out, but I'm glad we went. Being so far away from all of my friends and family, I decided to just send a lot of letters out, but I'm so glad they're so supportive of my dream of being able to see the Eiffel Tower and going to Paris, which has been my biggest goal in my life ever since I was a little girl. Most definitely the best trip of my life.
Kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it?
We're at the Eiffel Tower. Yes, we are. Loving it.
I'm just incredibly grateful to my parents who brought me and put in so much work to have us be able to go. And this will definitely not be my last time in Paris because there's so much more to explore. And so much more to fall in love with, but it was just amazing, and I will never be able to describe how fun it was.
Sort of witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not
Okay, you're in my video right now. Every time. I love being in your videos. Can't win. What do you think of it? Let's go. Can I have a bite?